Hey Flower Tribe, it's Kelly Lehman and Lucy Lehman, and today I want to answer a very common garden question that I get, and that is, should you leave your fall leaves in your garden or should you rake them up? So I'm going to let you know what I do here in Cranberry Fields. It seems to work for me. I know that a lot of gardeners use different practices, but this seems to be what works best for me. So I wind up leaving the leaves in my garden, but it's a good idea, if you can, to kind of break them up, because sometimes these leaves get very kind of laid down flat. They get kind of slimy, they get kind of mulchy when you have like the giant, large leaves on top of each other. I try to come in here and either, like kind of chop it up. You can either kind of like take some of the leaves out a little bit and run them over with just like a lawnmower. I know some people will also use like a weed whacker. Sometimes they'll put them in like a big, like a bin, and they'll kind of chop them up like that and then kind of redisperse them. There's other years where I run out of time and I can't get it done. I can't do it the exact, right way. That is the best way, because once you break those leaves down, you're going to have, like a little, less of that sliminess. It's not going to be quite so heavy. There's going to be a lot more aeration in the leaves. But if you can't do that extra step, and a lot of years I can't get to that extra step, because let's face it, it's a lot of work to like rake everything out, chop it up and put it back in. If you can't get into that extra beneficial step of chopping it up, I just leave them in the garden. And for the most part, they do just fine. But I make sure that I only have them on the plants that are mature. So especially plants like my limelight hydrangea that you guys know that I love. I've got a ton of peonies around here. I've got just a ton of tall grasses in the back. And those are like really mature plants. And what happens is the leaves will provide them with some extra, like an extra layer of protection over the winter. It's also going to provide it's going to keep the moisture in there a little bit longer, especially like when it snows out. It's going to kind of trap that moisture, and then as your plants start to wake up in spring, it's going to give them like a nice drink of water as that moisture starts to come out of the plant, and it's just going to help them wake up a little bit faster. If you have plants that are newly planted, or they're tiny, they're small, they're not very big, be really careful with this, because you don't want to have a load of heavy plants, like heavy leaves on top of them, that they're no longer receiving sunlight. So that's kind of like the rule of thumb. If your plants are not receiving sunlight through the leaves, you're probably going to want to kind of move them away, because you don't want to like suffocate them, you don't want to smother them, and you don't want to have them covered with tons and tons of moisture all winter long to the point where they die. So, if you can still see your plants, as you can see in here, I can see, my hydrangeas very clearly. These are some of my black-eyed Susans. I can see them. They're very mature plants. And so I'm going to wind up leaving a lot of these leaves in place. So, and leaves are great, guys, because they're going to invite a lot of beneficial, like insects, worms to your garden. So as they start to break down, the worms start eating them, and then the worms wind up helping like your soil to become better aerated. You're also going to get a lot of nutrients from these leaves. I mean, these are packed with tons of nutrients for your soil, and it's going to help to feed your plants. And there's just so many great benefits of leaving the leaves in your garden. And I have to say, I feel like maybe back in like the 80s and the 90s, I feel like it was kind of a trend to like clean up your fall garden, make sure it was manicured, rake all the leaves out, cut all the blossoms off, make sure it looks like, almost like picture perfect. And, I think as gardeners got smarter, they started realizing like, you can over prune your hydrangeas to the point where you're not going to get blooms. And I have a whole bunch of videos, showing exactly how that happens. And I have a whole bunch of like videos on a hydrangea playlist to tell you how to get more blooms from your hydrangea and how to avoid mistakes like that. I'll link that in descriptions below. But yeah, so I think a lot of gardeners realize, let's leave nature alone. Like nature knows what it's doing. So if you were out in like a forest, or if you were out in like a beautiful place that's natural and man doesn't touch it, like these plants know what they're doing. They come back year after year without us raking stuff out, without us pruning them, and these blooms come back, all the time out in nature. So a lot of times I like to have like a very simplistic plan for my gardening. I like to leave well enough alone. And it also saves me a ton of time, because I'm not out here doing things that really aren't even necessary. So for the most part, I will leave most of these leaves in the garden. But just be careful of a couple things, guys. There are some plants, some trees like walnut trees and eucalyptus, some of those leaves are not good for plants. So just make sure that you know what kind of leaves that you have coming up by you, and do like just a quick Google search, because like I said, sometimes like walnut tree leaves, they might inhibit some, certain plants from growing. So just double check that. I don't think it's like a common thing, because most people have like, the oak leaves and, some of the leaves that I have back here. So for the most part, it's usually fine. The only other thing to consider is that it's a good idea to get rid of the leaves that are on your lawn, or at least, have them kind of chopped up with the lawnmower, because that can really, tamp things down, and it can like prevent your lawn from getting, that sunlight that it needs. So from the lawn, I would definitely remove the leaves. From your sidewalks, definitely remove them. Your driveways, because they get super slippery. You don't want to have anybody wipe out. So I would definitely get rid of the leaves from those parts of, like your garden. And I just wanted to tell you some exciting news. I've been working really hard on creating a holiday guide for you guys to show you some terrific holiday decor and how to create it at your own homes. And I'm hoping that they're going to go live in my Retrieve online library next week. So we've already got a whole bunch of online videos in there showing you how to grow beautiful flowers just like these in your own backyard. They make for a great holiday gift. There's a link to those below, and hopefully by the end of next week I'm also going to have that holiday guide. And I just wanted to show you really quick some of the projects that we have in there. So I'm going to show you how to build out like beautiful arrangements for your tabletop. I'm going to show you how to make beautiful evergreen centerpieces. So we've got some centerpieces here. These evergreen ones here will basically last like the entire season. So once you build this out, since it's made out of all evergreens and it's not fresh flowers, it's a lot of just like these beautiful accent pieces, you can wind up building this out like in the beginning of December. And as long as you add some fresh water to like, the middle of it, because we built a lot of these with Oasis fresh foam in the middle, as long as you add like a little bit of water, this arrangement is going to look beautiful in your home for like 4 or 5 weeks. So we're going to show you how to build these out. I'm going to show you how to build out this beautiful arrangement, which basically is made with 3 flowers. I know that sounds crazy, but this Christmas arrangement is made with 3 hydrangeas, 1, 2, 3, and the rest of it is just like some of the tall grasses that I have in my garden. It's got a whole bunch of these beautiful magnolia leaves that I have in the front of my landscaping. And then I take it back. We actually added a couple accent pieces of carnations, but this arrangement can even hold itself without the extra carnations. And then we've got a whole bunch of like faux berries. I show you how I use like a spray snow to give some of these lotus pods like that wintry look. And then we just added some branches, and I'm going to show you how I use some of these crystallized faux pieces that I got, either at like Michael's or AC Moore's or Hobby Lobby. And, if you buy them on sale at the end of the season, they're really great to use year after year. And then you just kind of remove these faux pieces, and you can use them every single year in your garden. We've also got pine cones in here that we just put on pics and then sprayed some snow on them, and some, like faux leaves that have some fake snow on them too. And so I'm going to show you how to build all these things out, and I'm also going to show you what my holiday home looks like, and I'm going to show you like just some great time saver tips that I've had through the years, because we raised our 4 kids here on the flower farm, and I feel like I was always under the gun for time. So I have a lot of time saving holiday tips that I'm going to share with you on that holiday guide too. So if you're interested in getting information about that, you can either leave it in comments below, or you can send me an email at Lehman at cranberryfields.com, and I'll shoot you the live link when it's live, or you could just check back at that Retrieve Kelly Lehman Retrieve garden page that's in the descriptions below, and that will pop up soon. And I wanted to thank an anonymous Flower Tribe member for providing today's cup of caffeine. Know that I have a subscriber link below too. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate the cup of caffeine. It's just so nice to see that, and it's so nice to see the messages that you leave me on that supporters page. So thank you so much for that. And I wanted to give you just a little bit of bonus information today. I want to show you how I planted the hydrangeas that I propagated way back in summer. So I have a whole bunch of videos on how to propagate your hydrangeas and get loads and loads of plants, just from a single plant. And most of them, sprouted beautiful roots, and I got them planted in the garden, but I didn't get to all of them. So even though it's like December 1st, It's late in the season because these really should have been put in the ground in like November so that their roots had a chance to kind of stretch out and get established. My choice is to either leave them in my garage right now and try to winter them over, or pop them in the ground and cross my fingers that we're not going to have, you know, like a ground freeze, like a total ground freeze, you know, within the next few weeks. So here's what I'm going to do today. I already dug a little bit of a hole, and I'm going to bring this to you. So hold on one second. Bring everything over here. So this is that bin that I showed you guys weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and I just took some clippings from the top of my hydrangeas, and check out these beautiful roots. Is that amazing? I'm so excited when I see this. So these guys are going to give me a brand new hydrangea plant next year. So I'm going to pop them in the ground. They're not looking very good right now because, like I said, I should have planted them with my other ones like 4 or 5 weeks ago, but sometimes you got to work with what you got. So what I did was I just dug a little hole here in my garden. Some of these leaves. And I'm going to tuck this guy in for the season. Hopefully he does well. And I'm going to water him in. We've got some beautiful weather today. It's going to be in like the high 40s. Oh, I have a nice worm over here, which is great. I'm going to tuck him in, pat him down. And then what I am going to do is just not go so deep. I'm going to try to break up some of these leaves around him so that I don't get that slime. And I'm actually probably going to put a little bit of wood mulch around here too later on, just to kind of keep that moisture in. So I'll let you know how this guy does, you know, next spring. But like I said, I had planted a ton of these just a few weeks ago. So I think I have like 30 extra plants from the propagating that we did. And so once again, check out, there's a whole playlist on like our, you know, our hydrangeas, the propagating ones are in there. And then I wanted to show you one last thing that I'm really excited about. So I made a couple videos on how to dig up your dahlias at this time of year. So this is what one of my dahlia plants looked like. This guy was in a pot that was in my secret garden, and I just kind of dug him up, and what I'm going to do, oops, is I'm going to remove a lot of this soil, and then I'm going to rinse it off, let it dry out, and then I'm going to store it in some dampened vermiculite. And once again, I have a whole video showing you exactly how I did that, because next year each of these tubers, I think I have one that's already separated. Hold on, let me see if I can find the one I had for you. Nope, of course not. Each of these tubers that has a neck and an eye, like a little swollen spot, it's hard to see here because this guy's not cleaned up yet, is going to be a brand new dahlia plant next spring. So it's so exciting because dahlias are great. Dahlias are almost like the Christmas presents of the garden, because when you dig them up in late winter, or I should say late fall, early winter, before the ground freezes, a lot of times one single plant will have like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 new plants that you can kind of divide, and you have to store them over the winter in a place that's not frozen. I store them in either my garage or I'll store them in my flower barn, and I'll just kind of come out and I'll divide them in the spring, and I'll make a video showing you exactly how I do that. And then I've got like 7 or 8 brand new plants, and you can imagine that just keeps multiplying and multiplying, and you can gift them to friends, you can gift them to your family, and it's just a terrific plant to work with. It's like so exciting. And so let me take a quick peek at my notes, because I like to make it like some show notes so I can cover everything. I feel like sometimes I talk so fast because I have so many things I want to tell you each week. So let me check my quick notes and see if there's anything that I left out that I wanted to tell you guys about this week. Oops. Are you guys getting ready for the holidays? Anyone in panic mode like me? Why does that happen? Like, they're coming. Like in October, we know they're coming, and they just come, and we're always panicked. I think that's it, guys. I think those are the bulk of my notes that I wanted to share with you today. Just make sure that if you can, get some of those leaves kind of chopped up if possible. If not, and your plants are nice and mature, I think it's fine to kind of just leave them in there. And yeah, so that's it. So guys, if you can, let me know where you're viewing this from in this great, big, beautiful world. I love to see how our flower tribe is growing around the globe each week. And come say hi to us over on my Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group because there's thousands of gardeners from all over the world, and they're asking and answering tons of questions there. And I guess that's it. So I will see you guys next Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. I try to go live every single week, and the weeks that I can't, like last week, I had like a whole internet glitch. I wound up posting like an uploaded video to give you those garden tips. I had to post it a little bit later because, like I said, I had some crazy technical difficulties, and that happens. But each week I'll try to come to you, hopefully at 10:30 a.m. live. If not, know that there will hopefully be something that's posted that morning for you. And thanks for joining me this morning. I will see you guys in the next video.